Right, MX5 update time, and in this video I'm going to be relocating the washer bottle in this engine bay. Now, I've no idea whose decision it was to put it where it is in the OEM position, but not only is it painfully ugly to look at, it is now messing with my plans to supercharge this car, because where it sits in stock form is right where the supercharger needs to be mounted, which just won't do. So, let's get it shifted. So in order to do this job, I've bought this. Now this is a rear washer bottle out of a late 90s Mercedes estate. And if you're looking at it thinking, wow, that looks brand new, it's because I cleaned it. And if you want to know how I did that, click the link at the top of the screen right now to take you to that tech tip video. So I've bought this particular tank because this will fit very neatly into the scuttle of the MX5, meaning that I can remove the washer bottle from the engine bay entirely. Now you can get some bespoke items to do this exact mod. I know that the Fab bottle is a very popular choice in the MX5 community. It's metal, it does look really nice, but it is £120 and this is a budget build. So I've had to go with this instead, and this cost me exactly £19.88 off eBay, but this does actually push us over £1,000 into this build, and the current spend right now is £1,004.96, but I'm going to get rid of the pence from now on and just call it £1,005. So you might be looking at this tank thinking, but James, there's no pump with this. Well, no, there isn't. I actually bought one specifically for this tank off eBay. I think it cost about £12 and it fit really nicely into this little cutout, but unfortunately I had to send it back because when I fit it I realised that it sat too high and would foul the bonnet, meaning that I couldn't close it. So I was a little bit stumped until I remembered that I actually removed a pump from the Capri when I did the whole rear windscreen wiper delete and removed all the associated gubbins. So I had a good search around in my spare parts pile and I found it, and the good thing about this pump is that it is just a standalone pump, meaning that I should be able to mount it right next to our relocated tank, run a pipe, and we should be good to go. I'm going to ignore for the time being that it is actually 43 years old and is quite loud, but hey, it is free. Alright, so to mount this tank into the scuttle I've actually gone with a very simple solution: Velcro. Now, I did toy around with some other ideas, but ultimately this was way simpler and easier than anything else I could come up with, and we also had some of these Velcro strips kicking around in the house anyway. So I stuck some on the bottle, stuck some into the scuttle, and whapped it in there, and now it's pretty damn secure. I'm not going to worry about that. Now the next thing I need to mount is the pump itself. So to do that I've drilled the bulkhead between the scuttle and the engine bay here, and I'm going to use a couple of M6 bolts to secure that pump in there. And I've also cut an old piece of inner tube to act as a bit of insulation between the two surfaces to try and eliminate some of the noise and vibration that that rickety old pump kicks out. Right, our tank's in and the pump is securely fastened in the scuttle here, so the next thing I need to do is run the lines for the washer fluid. Now to get from the tank to the pump I'm actually going to reuse a piece of this leftover 4mm vac line from the ECU install. So I'm going to push this end into the grommet in the tank here. It is a good tight fit, so it should be watertight, and then I'm going to trim it to length and push the other end onto the inlet of the motor, which I think I know which the inlet is. We'll soon find out if I'm wrong. Right, I've got the hose into the tank side. I had to remove the tank to get it in there because access was a little tight. I couldn't get my fingers down there to push that in, but it's in there now. So now I just need to cut it to length and attach it to the pump. Right, that's the line run from the tank to the pump. Now for the lines outboard of the pump, I'm actually going to reuse the stock washer lines and repurpose them for this setup. Right, that's everything taken care of in the scuttle, so the next thing I need to do is get this stock washer bottle out. Now this should be pretty simple. There's just one 10mm bolt and the pump to unplug, and then that thing should be out. There we go. Right, the washer bottle's out. There's just some bracketry down here that I can remove as well. So there's two 12mm bolts to undo, and then we can get this out as well. So unclip the harness. She's out of there. Right, check out how much better that engine bay looks now. I mean, I know I've had to remove that for the supercharger, but even if I wasn't supercharging this car, I'd still be tempted to do this mod just because of how much better the engine bay looks without that ugly washer bottle sat there. It looks way better. And look how much more access I have on this side of the engine as well. That mod is a no-brainer. So the washer bottle's out. The last thing I need to do is get power to our pump up in the scuttle. So to do that, I'm basically going to cut the stock plug off the harness here, extend those wires, run them up through this grommet here in the bulkhead, and then all the way along the scuttle. I've cut the connector off the Capri for this pump so I can solder that onto the end of the wires and then just plug in the pump. And fingers crossed then we'll have a fully functioning relocated washer bottle for less than 20 quid. Okay, moment of truth, ladies and gents. Let's see if our relocated washer bottle mod has been successful. Here we go. Hey! I mean, it is loud. I sort of remember that from it being in the Capri. But good news is, it works, and for 20 quid, you can't really grumble. So that's another episode in the bag, and that job was pretty crucial because that washer bottle was 100% in the way of where the supercharger needs to be fitted. And the other bonus of doing this is I also have much better access to the exhaust manifold now, because I do in the near future need to remove it and wrap it in some exhaust wrap, because with the supercharger being mounted directly above it, heat is a concern. Now, I know currently it has a nice OEM heat shield on it, but from what I've seen of the G19 supercharger mount kit, I'm going to have to remove that to make way for one of the brackets. So it's going to be pretty crucial for me to get that exhaust wrapped up nice and tight to keep as much heat as possible away from that supercharger. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. That's all for a future episode. For now though, I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to stay up to date with this build, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks, and see you for the next episode.